I don't know. Is Krill on yet? Yeah. Chief Krill's on?
I am.
Tell Mike Chief, we're gonna call on you after I'm done for an update on this slide here. He has the dashboard up.
Okay.
Are you on the video too, or are you just calling in?
Mike, that was a question for you. Are you there, Mike?
It's right here.
Mike?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. Are you on the? Do you see the video stream too?
I wasn't on the video screen. Is it the Northampton County one, or is it
Yes.
the
Yep. Northampton County.
the Northampton County one? Okay.
Sandy's on too. Peter Milan, Dave O'Connell, Ken Brown, they're supposed to be on. Jim Ettinger and Roger Ruggles, I don't know about, but I'm going to announce them anyway. And then Chris Hagel's on too. Just because I don't want to miss anyone. Because I sent the email out today, let me know if you're going to be on. And like Sandy doesn't see her days at a time. No, not yet. Your microphone has to just push it on. Oh, we're streaming now? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual town hall meeting, which is a little different than our normal town hall meetings. You either have to see my less than nice face on the screen or you're calling in on the telephone, but either way, it's not as nice as having you here in person. These are different times, certainly a different time of the year for us. It's a different time in our lifetime, but we're going to get through this, and every day gets better and better, but we still need people to stay home. Police department tells me that more and more people are out and about, and that's great to get some exercise out on our our trails and hiking trails and things like that, the Arch Trail. But please maintain your social distance and make sure you are wearing a mask outside. Your mask doesn't protect you; it protects others. So please, let's flatten that curve. And we're doing well, but last night, as Chief Krill will tell you, was not a good day for Easton. For another reason, or for county, another reason why it wasn't a good day, let me first give you the meeting protocols. We have corrected the situation, so if you want to call in to ask a question or make a comment, please call 484-359-0304, and it'll ask you for a PIN number, which is 870861 # or $. So that number again is 484-359-0304, and the PIN number for this meeting is 870861 #. Now, if you want to speak, if you're a member of the public that would like to speak, just raise your hand by pressing the asterisk button twice. That's the star button. Asterisk, asterisk, and it'll raise your hand. Let our Mark Lizinecki know that you want to ask a question or make a comment. I want to welcome to our online meeting tonight. We have all of our council members present. Councilman Milan, Vice Mayor Brown, Sandra Volcano, David O'Connell, Jim Ettinger, Roger Ruggles, and we also have our city controller again, Chris Hagel. So I want to welcome all of them to the meetings and thank them for their ongoing interest. You know, we find ourselves in challenging times, and many of us facing some of the biggest and most professional challenges of our lives, especially our small business owners who are out of work, and our frontline workers, our healthcare workers. And it's not just the doctors and the nurses, but the staff, the janitors, the people making sure that it's sanitized, all the people who have volunteered time to make masks for people, send food to the hospitals. We really want to thank the healthcare workers who are out there, some working double shifts, and obviously seeing a lot of torment and turmoil. I want to tell you that I'm trying not to be political in any of these virtual town hall meetings, but those protesters that were out in Harrisburg yesterday and in various states throughout the country, and the governor who opens up the beaches in Florida and stuff, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and I would ask you not to do that. Please stay home unless you really need to go to a drugstore or a food store. Please stay home. Help us flatten the curve. Help us stop the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Now, I know, even for myself, I am very thankful to God that I do not know anyone who's sick, and I've not lost anyone with any fatality. I'm very fortunate. And many of you are as well, especially in Northampton County. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. Just talk to a nurse or a frontline person, doctor like I have, and they'll tell you horror stories that this is not a virus you want to get, and you don't want any of your loved ones to get it. It's a very painful virus. It's not like the flu where you just feel ragged and tired and your muscles ache. This is really something that's much more serious. So you may want to protest, but I'll tell you what, you wouldn't protest forever if you would just spend 1 hour in a coronavirus ward of any of our local hospitals. Let me also say that yesterday was one of those days for local government where we took 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I'm not going to be nice to the federal government. The federal government yesterday showed their true colors again when they totally disregarded and disrespected every local official in this country, whether you're a mayor or a council member or supervisor of any city, town, village, or tribe in this country, when they just said, and they just flicked their nose at us and said, we're not going to give you anything. 96% of all cities, towns, and municipalities have reported budget shortfalls for this year. 96%. 50% of the cities in this country are under 50,000 population, but yet they've chose to help 36 cities. That's right. They said in the CARES document, legislation they approved 2 weeks ago, that only helps cities, towns, and villages of over 500,000 population and counties of over 500,000. That's not even Northampton County or Lehigh County, with both about 360,000 population. So they helped 0.5% of all municipalities, or roughly 14% of our total population. The National League of Cities, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and the National Association of Counties has really worked hard, as well as the Pennsylvania Municipal League, and every mayor that I know of in this state, have talked to Senator Toomey, Senator Casey, Congresswoman Wild. Fortunately, I will tell you that Congressman Wild is one of the co-sponsors of a bill that would help cities. And I know that there's small businesses out there, and they did receive money today in the bill that the Senate will approve while we're having this meeting. It's a $484 billion bailout. $310 billion will be added to the 3P program, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. $30 million will be set aside for small banks and credit unions. $30 billion will be set aside for community development finance institutions. The rest of it, $75 billion, will be reimbursed to hospitals and healthcare providers to support the need for COVID-19 related expenses and lost revenue. And $25 billion will be for testing, which is absolutely positively needed to get our economy reopened, and it's also needed as well for a vaccine. So that research is very, very good. However, your city, Easton, being under 50,000, will have to beg the state for a share of the money that they're going to get. And as you know, the governor has reported that the gap in revenues or loss of revenues to the state of Pennsylvania will be about $4.4 billion. So I don't know how quick the state's going to be looking to justify giving money to localities. So let me just say that for 30 years I've been involved in local government. I've been fighting for respect and some type of credibility for local officials. I think the mayors and the council members and supervisors out there do too good of a job. We cry a lot. We talk about pension reform that's needed. I've talked about it since Act 205 in 1988, but we still make it happen every year. We balance the budget. We have surpluses every year. This year in the city of Easton for the last 10 years, we've had record number of years in a row of 11 of no tax increase or sewer and refuge increase. All those things are really good, but it tells the state and federal officials, I guess, that we're okay, but we're not. We're one accident away, one problem like this one away from having serious problems. If you look at on the local level, 95% of the population wants to secure our streets for pedestrians and bicyclists by using radar to control speeding. 49 out of 50 states allow their local municipality police departments to use radar. Which is the only one that doesn't? Pennsylvania. Now, I love when I debate this issue with some of our representatives and senators, and not ours, by the way. I have to tell you that I'm not talking about Bob Freeman or Senator Boscola or even Senator Brown or any of the other representatives from the Lehigh Valley. They seem to all be on board to support it. But I can remember testifying at one of the hearings up in the Poconos, and one of the state representatives said, "Well, Mayor, all you want to do is balance your budget." I said, "Really? That's interesting." The city's fine is $25. The total ticket price, the citation to the person charged with speeding, is $125. Where does the other $100 go? To the state of Pennsylvania. So you get $100 and I get $25. Now, the person who has to enforce that is the city's, and our police department takes 2 police officers, or even just one. We'll have 1 police officer out there with a radar gun. They make about $55 an hour in overtime, and we're going to get and according to their own state police, it's 2 tickets per hour. So we're going to actually be losing money. It's about public safety. It's not about public dollars. But we haven't been able to get that for 30 years. We've tried to get that as well as pension reform. Pension reform is something that's going to strap the cities. There's no doubt about that. We're paying over $5 million a year. That $5 million would go well to reduce taxes and increase the number of things we do for our residents. So I'm not real excited today about the federal government. Every time I go down to the Capitol Hill, it's like begging for our own constituents, which I remind them that they're not just my constituents. Our residents are their constituents as well. We're not a lobbyist with our hand out. None of this is for us. It's for the public good, not my good. So yesterday was one of those days, and today the Senate will be voting on a bill that's going to be another $484 billion of debt, and not one penny is going to be directly seen by the residents of any municipality in the United States. And I think that's going to be an issue, and hopefully they will come up with Plan 4 and help us with this revenue gap, which right now, Mark and Lewis tell me is still about $5.5 million. And the problem with that is we try every day to balance our budget, but it's very difficult not knowing when you're going to reopen your economy. We don't know when we're going to open our economy. And is it June, July, November? We don't know. And that's the hardest part. Right now we're anticipating 15% revenue loss of about $5.5 million, but guess what? That means us opening up in June. We may not open up till July or August. I already had calls with the summer events. We're not booking anything yet because we can't sign contracts for something in June if we don't know it's going to be there. I know that talking to Joe Moranville about the our Garlic Fest, which is in the first week of October, she's also concerned, and she hasn't done anything yet to really solidify entertainment or vendors because she doesn't know what's going to happen. So, well, all those things being considered, we have a long way to go before we make a decision. Now, there are a couple senators who are helping us, but even it's Senator Menendez in New Jersey and Representative Lujan in New Mexico, who are trying to help with a bill called the Coronavirus Community Relief Act. Well, the problem with that act is obviously Menendez is in New Jersey, which is really hard hit. The bulk of that money is earmarked for areas that are hardest hit. Obviously, New Jersey and New York are very hard hit, and parts of Louisiana and places like that. So we're not sure where that's going to go, but at least they're trying to help communities, and that's good. We're hoping that when push comes to shove, that the leadership on both sides of the aisle help put that into action, and that's called the Coronavirus Community Relief Act. A couple announcements today before we get to any questions that we may have or any comments. We're going to have an update from Chief Krill and from our City Administrator, Lewis. I want to let you know that spring sports, we had a call in last week about whether or not we were going to refund the registration fees, which for some people, if they have 2 kids, it could be as much as $80. I want you to know that we were going to do that, but we were holding off till May 15th. Apparently, the leagues are more optimistic than me that they'll have a season, and they're going to delay their decision-making until May 15th. The last thing I would want to do is refund the money and then only charge it back to you again. So we're going to wait till May 15th and see what the leagues decide. Same thing is true with our swimming pools. We're working with the YMCA, who, of course, is our third-party contractor for our lifeguards. And we're obviously with students going back to school in the middle of August, maybe not being able to open until the 4th of July. Those things we're looking at, we're weighing very carefully. I want to again emphasize, if you're going to go outside, make sure there's a reason to go outside. Make sure you maintain your social distance, and please wear a mask for our protection, not yours. We're also planning in May, we're going to try to have our planning commission meetings, our planning commission meeting, our zoning hearing board meeting, and our historic district committee meeting in May, probably virtually. We don't expect, Governor Wolf did announce last night that he's going to be opening up the economy. He's opened up a couple things already this week, and May 8th he's going to open up some more. But, we were one of the first counties closed down because we're so close to proximity to both New York and Philadelphia, with New Jersey in between. I don't think we're going to open up maybe June 8th, but certainly not May 8th. And but we want to be prepared. We have a couple hearings for the zoning hearing board. One has to do with a lot consolidation. It's not a big deal, but it certainly needs, these developers would get, by right, the law says if we don't give them an answer in 30 days, they're deemed approved. So we want to at least make sure that we have a hearing for that. For our Historic District Commission, there are some people who want to start working as soon as it opens up with projects that they have for their businesses and homes in the Historic District. Plus, we have our 4th Street garage design that we'd like to bring forward. The precast concrete is at least 12 months out when we order it, so we need to start that process, and we even expect to have it open sometime in 2021. And the Planning Commission, the big issue there, the only issue I know of is the zoning ordinance, which would be, and that obviously we've had public input on that since September, but we have not had any hearings on that since PC, prior to coronavirus. So we want to get those things moving so that when the economy does reopen, we're ready to move forward. Lastly, I'd like to thank the FBI, the DOJ, and the local Easton Police and the Lafayette College Police Department for the final resolution, which came yesterday when the individual from Alaska pleaded guilty to the bomb scare back in 2018. It's still weighed on a lot of people's minds, and now there's at least closure since the person did say that he was having a video gaming feud with an individual, and certainly took on his identity and tried, and he didn't try. He scared a whole neighborhood and campus. So I want to thank all the people involved that they kept it up. They kept investigating and finally brought this person to justice. Taxpayers won't have to waste a lot of money. He did plead guilty, and he is from Alaska. And on Thursday at 10 o'clock, for all the small businesses that are listening in, you know that we're looking for more money for the city's loan that we did with the Greater Eastern Development Partnership, GEDP, and a number of banks and lending institutions and East Area Industrial Land Developers. That there's going to be a business roundtable. We had one about 3 weeks ago with the county executive, Mr. McClure, myself, and a representative from Bethlehem. That meeting will be held on Thursday at 10 o'clock. You need to go on to our city website to register. You go into the city government, DC, Department of Community and Economic Development, under departments, and then you go into business assistance information on the left side toolbar, and then in the middle of the page will be in events to inform, and you just click on that. Now, if you have a problem finding it, just call 610-250-6719. But that's Thursday morning from 10 to 12, and the people who will be on that call will again be our Northampton County Executive, Lamont McClure, who's doing a great job. The moderator will be Sally Hanlon, a local businesswoman. Lou Allegra from SCORE. Rob Jacobs, he's an attorney here in town. Brett Smith from the Small Business Development Council. Jason Hoy from the Silk Mill. Bruce Palmer is a local CPA. Sarah Clark from Kudu. HR, somebody from HR will be there, and there may be some speakers that may be added, but upon registration, you'll be provided with a call-in number to the email address you provide, and they have a audio-visual company handling that, so like they did before. So please, if you're a small business person, wants to know or has any questions, please make that an opportunity to take 2 hours out of your day to learn a little bit more about what's going on for small businesses. With that, I'm going to open the floor to Louis for any updates.
Mayor, just in general, no changes from last week's updates in that we're seeing little fire and police activity, which is good, all things being considered. The City Hall continues to operate, certainly with online services. and we do have folks available to assist the public with any questions that they may have. There's a lot of information on our website that we're updating as quickly as we make those changes. Some of them have to do with tax filings, etc. And you had mentioned others that for this summer, our summer programming series, that's still yet to be determined depending on what happens with the pandemic. The one thing I do want to point to our viewers is that we've now on our city website have placed the Northampton County's COVID-19 statistical update, so you can see in graphic format since inception in March till present day what the counts are for positive testing as well as overall deaths. I'm actually going to now turn it over to Fire Chief Michael Krill, so he can go in a little bit more detail into the COVID-19 situation, and he may also elaborate on the charts from Northampton County that, again, are now on our website. I'll turn it over to Chief Krill.
Hello, everyone. Chief Krill here. Just a couple of things to highlight on the chart from Northampton County. The number of cases up to today, positives in Northampton County, is 1,544. That represents a 75-point increase over yesterday. Now, just to put that in perspective a little bit, if you look at the charting on the COVID dashboard, it does, as Mr. Campos had mentioned, it does show the 14-day number of positives per day. And we started out earlier in the 14-day period with hitting a high of 92 positives per day. And yesterday we reached an all-time low. Since the tracking has begun, it was 28 yesterday, but for some reason today we had a large spike, and it went up to 75. I don't know if that's in relation to some accuracy in the count. In other words, maybe some of those were held over and weren't quite determined yesterday, which made it low, and then today higher. But we had, prior to this spike, we had been seeing some moderation in the numbers. We were getting a lot of days where the count was at between 42 and 45, which was very positive. It looked like we were seeing some flattening. So we'll have to look a little bit longer to see if it returns to that 45 area per day rather than spiking up like it has today. One good thing is that in the city of Easton, we've only so far had one fatality due to the coronavirus. The county has had 41 and has that was a increase of one today. Looking around the county, the high for one particular municipality is 11. And I believe there's a relationship between the number of elderly care facilities and nursing homes that drive those numbers. We have in Easton, the fire department has been working with our 3 nursing and assisted living facilities here, and what we've done is we've established some protocols to make sure there's no cross-contaminations, either us accidentally bringing in coronavirus or accidentally taking coronavirus with us. So we're taking some added precautions. All the nursing and elder care facilities have been extremely cooperative. Just a couple of other interesting things. As far as the number of beds available in Northampton County, there's 29 ICU beds and 119 med beds. The Northampton County available ventilators is 113, and right now they're using about 27 of them for COVID patients, and they have about 57 of them in use for other patients. The total, as I said before, the total number of positives up to today was 1,544. The number of negative tests that resulted from the testing is 5,004. And that brings the total number of testing in Northampton County to 6,548. And that does not take into account testing that has been done, but they have not received results yet. So the testing number may be a little bit higher than the 6,548. Just to compare us regionally, in the 5-county region, which includes Northampton, Monroe, Carbon, Bucks, and Lehigh, the low number of cases in a county is 150. The high is 2,295, and again, we sit at 1,544. And that's about all I have.
Thank you, Chief Krill. Mayor, one thing I also want to add, we continue to meet internally as a team daily to review not only COVID-19 issues, but obviously then operational issues that the city is facing. As it stands right now, on another note regarding COVID-19 or in our emergency services personnel, I've been informed by both chiefs that we are adequately stocked with PPE equipment for at least the next 30 to 60 days. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Campos. And I want to follow up by thanking particularly the employees who are working, and let the 81 furloughed employees know that we're thinking about them every day. We hope they're safe and well, and their families are well. And hopefully our job, as I said last week, a lot of people, this is really up to the governors and, of course, the president. But the governors are the ones who will reopen the economy. The governors are the ones who are watching for all the hospital beds that are available, et cetera, the surge and where it's taking place. And we all know that Pennsylvania is a very, very big state when it comes to size. So if you look at the number of cases by zip code, you notice that we're heavily ranked over here with number of cases on the east side of Pennsylvania. But on the west side, other than Philadelphia, Allegheny County, it's rather sparse. So you're going to see those cases, those counties opening up a lot faster than us. But our job will start when it comes time to open up. First thing we're going to do is help our economy get back to where it was, as big as it was last year at this time. And the second thing we're going to do is continue to work on our budget to make sure that we bring this budget in as close to budget as we can without dipping too much into our reserves or canceling too many capital projects. Certainly don't want to. One other thing I forgot to mention. We are going to delay the opening of the commencement of the street sweeping program. We originally thought we were going to do it on June 1st. Now it may be August the 1st. We'll let you know later. But right now we're not going to be opening up the street sweeping program on June 1st. We just won't be ready, and we may not even have enough employees back to do that. Secondly, I've been asked by students at Easton Area High School, the senior class. I feel so bad for seniors across this country. They've lost the best part of their high school career, the second semester. I remember when I was a senior, that was a long time ago, but I also remember I was a teacher. And it's hard on them. And we certainly, whatever the high school wants to do, whatever they decide to do, I had people yesterday talk to me about having some kind of a big graduation ceremony at Center Square. And I had other people talking about Cottingham Stadium. Whatever it takes, I'm pledging to you my promise that whatever the senior class decides, if it's in the city of Easton, you have all the help that you need from the administration to do whatever we need to do to make it a memorable senior class graduation. My most memorable senior class graduation was not my own. My most memorable, or any of my children, my most memorable was when I was a teacher. I was invited back by the senior class 4 years after I taught them when they were graduating, and I was the mayor of the city of Easton at the time, and it was a great opportunity for me to congratulate them and sit on the stage and shake each one of their hands as they went through. They were all 8th grade students of mine 4 years earlier. So graduation's a special time. It's the commencement. It's the beginning of a new life. And be a great opportunity if we can begin a new life right here. We have a commencement of our own for the economy in June. That would be great. Any questions, Mr. Lisinecki? No questions. We must have covered everything. I want to remind you that tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock on the same bat channel, bat station, I shouldn't use that bat. I mean, they still think the coronavirus came from bats. I want you to know that City Council will have a virtual meeting tomorrow evening. Although it is a light agenda, there's very important items on that agenda. And you can call into or get this website off of our internet, off of our website. And you can also participate by using, Frank, will it be the same number? Same phone number, same everything. So tomorrow night, City Council meeting starts at 6 o'clock. All members will be present, not here, but somewhere in their homes, and or maybe even their car while their chauffeur's driving them. Oh, they don't have chauffeurs, that's right. But we're looking forward to having the resolution that we passed. We weren't going to have a meeting, but the resolution that we passed at our meeting on March 25th basically stated that without exception, we will have at least one meeting a month. So we are having tomorrow's meeting. So until then, I want you all to be safe, stay healthy, and God bless.
The host has disconnected. The conference will now end.